Why is it silent? I hear music. Huh? Good morning, chat, and welcome back. After many, 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 many days. 20, I think? Too long. Too long. I'm back. I hope everyone has had a good off season. I hope you've been touching grass. I hope you've enjoyed Halloween. I haven't streamed since before Halloween. I hope you've enjoyed Thanksgiving, if you're Canadian. I hope you've enjoyed European Challenger League. And I hope you're excited for the major. I hope you're not here if you're not excited for the major, to be honest, because today's stream is all about the major. We're going to be doing predictions today. We're going to be going over every single group, every single team. All my going live notifications were indeed cap. Don't worry, we've got actual predictions coming today. It's all snow. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's all snow. How long is the stream? Well, Blaze, that depends. How long do you want it to be? You don't want it to be cap? I'm sorry, Last Fire. I'm sorry. I know you saw the Eminem message. Yes. No, I think this major will be fun. I think there's a lot of really interesting groups. I had a really hard time calling Group B. I had a really hard time calling Group C. Group A was not easy either. Group D was a bit of a free one for predictions, but it's okay. I've got a few spicy takes. I'll be honest, though. Most of my takes are pretty cold. Maybe I shouldn't say this right at the start, but my takes are, like, pretty cold. Now, there's some spice in there. There's a little bit of spice. Actually, I don't know. There's some groups you can't not be spicy. You're going to piss somebody off in Group C. But after my prediction rating has tanked, frankly, this stage, after I lost to a coin, I've been rethinking a little bit. And we're going to play a little safe. We're going to play a little cool. I have spent the morning today prepping all of my reasonings, all of my thought processes. I looked over all my notes for all the teams, and I have what I consider to be the best, #1 in the world prediction. Calling it before it happens. That's right. Mirage ain't winning a map. Ooh. That's a bit of a spicy take, I think. Mirage are in Direwolves' group. And FaZe. FaZe can throw shit for sure. And Direwolves are not that good of a team. Mirage have some gunners. 8-hour stream. No. Nick tried to say there's a world where Direwolves make it out of that group. Well, these are all important conversations to have. And that's why I don't think it should just be me making predictions. I think it would be unfair if I were the only one who was able to predict things. I feel like there should be opportunities for you, the populace, the people, the folks, to make your own predictions. Now we need a way for that to happen, though. Some kind of showcasing of skill. A way for the people of the Big Brain Club Discord to prove that they are better than the other members of the Discord, superior, smarter, having of bigger brains, perhaps. Something like a prediction competition, I think, is in order. I wonder if there were some sort of a bot that Axon and I spent like an hour bug fixing this afternoon that could run such a prediction tournament. Well, thankfully there is. That's right. In the Discord channel, BBC of prediction competition, we will once again be running our annual prediction competition as we do every single major in the Big Brain Club. We're setting that up today, and we're starting it, and we're going to allow you guys to make your picks today. It works the same as it does every single stage, but if you weren't here, if you weren't a part of the Discord previously, then all you got to do is pick the winner of each game. If you get it right, you'll win a special role in the Discord. You'll win prestige and fame. It's a club that only a few select elite individuals are a part of, and Demino for some reason. So it's a bit of a big deal. It's a bit of a big deal. So the first thing we're going to do, chat, is we are going to launch the prediction competition. Then we're going to get into my predictions. And then maybe I'll leak what we're doing for co-streams. Because co-streams, I've got to say, are hype as hell. We are not going to have a boring co-stream. We've got guests out the wazoo. I got like 8 guests lined up for my co-stream, okay? Different people on different days. Some of your favorites. Not Parker, thank God. All right, it's gonna be a good set of co-streams. Are you a guest? No. Did I watch SCS quals? I didn't watch the quals, but I may try to. I don't know. I may look into like actually watching or streaming the league. I don't know. The league's kind of stacked, isn't it? I don't know. I saw they announced the first week of schedules, right? They announced like the first week of who's playing who. It looked kind of hype. I'm not gonna lie. It looks pretty cool. Okay, I have to run the prediction bot, and it involves me running Python code. Now you may not know this, but I'm a dumbass. So this may not go well. Okay, the first thing I gotta do. Coordinator's redeeming Showcat, and you know what? Spawny is literally at my feet. She's not even asleep, so I'll give you a Showcat. Come here. Oh, you're so heavy. Good God. Here's your Showcat. Indy, my other cat, was being such a little shit today. Literally, like, knocking shit over, running all over the house. Absolute disaster. Alright, we'll let her sit on my lap. Alright. Discord prediction bot main. Awesome. It's been a minute since we've seen Spawny on stream. Spawny's not been into actually coming to the stream. What happened to my eye? It looks red. I've been doing drugs. No, I've been watching a lot of Siege to get ready for the major. Not really on stream. I've been doing a lot of school. That's probably taking up most of my time. And I've been getting hyped for Pokemon. I haven't played it yet, but something about it, man. I don't know. It just got me excited. All right. Start this up. Is that gonna work? Looks like it's working. Oh wait, no, it's not gonna work. Shit. Shit, I fucked up. I fucked up, chat. I fucked up the prediction bot. Hold on. I know how to fix it. I have to go here here? In theory, this could have done before this. This could have been done before the stream, but that's not exactly how we roll. I think this music's too loud. There we go. Okay. What do I do? What am I doing? Edit? There it is. Okay. Accent, how do I find my channel ID? Surely that should be somewhere here. I would assume it would be in the channel options, and yet it's not. Who designed this? The shittiest thing about Discord is there's like 9 different options menus. Who designed this? I think Discord is kind of a poorly designed app, if I'm being honest. Right-click the channel. Hi. Yeah, see. No. It's not there. Oh, I found it. Why is it in the options? Bro, I hate Discord. People like Discord, and I like Discord too. But objectively, Discord has some poorly designed things about it. That's my take. Okay. Now we can run the bot. This is usually an Axon job, of course. However, Axon is not going to be around for the whole tournament. So it's been my job to learn how this works. All right, cross your fingers. Watch the prediction competition channel. See if I fucked this up. Boom! I didn't run the bot. All right, hold on. The bot, I didn't turn it on. Okay, it's on. And boom! Oh, I'm so fucking good. I'm so fucking good at this thing, chat. All right. God, I should be a programmer. What you want to do if you want to be in the prediction competition? It's very simple. Step 1, !BBC. Join the Big Brain Club Discord channel. Step 2, navigate your way to the prediction competition channel in the Discord server. Step 3, you're going to click one and only one team for every single game. Right now, we've posted Playday 1. There's 16 games in the first Playday. You're going to go through that. You're going to pick all the predictions that you can. You're going to pick your teams. You can change your mind. You can change your vote, but if you vote for 2 teams, of course, that prediction will not count. At the end of the tournament, we will be counting up everybody's votes. The winner will be crowned based on how many points they have accumulated. It's 1 point for getting a best of 1 correct. It's 2 points. No, it's 3 points for getting a best of 3 correct. And it's 5 points for correctly guessing a best of 5. The next day's predictions will be made after the first day is over. So Playday 2 predictions will pop up as soon as Playday 1 finishes. It's very simple. And that's basically all it is. Now, you may want to wait because you may want to see what because right now we're doing a prediction stream. So you may want to wait and see what I say before you make your predictions. Either to copy me, listen to my arguments, or to vote against me, because again, I had a horrible fucking prediction rating this stage. So maybe you just want to pick exactly what I'm not picking, which is also fair. Also very, very fair. 2 right on the first day would be a feat, Sledges. What are the odds of only getting 2 correct on the first day? That's the same odds as getting, what, 14 incorrect? So it's 1 over 2 to the 14? Yeah? Well, the odds of getting exactly 2 correct would be worse. Let's say 2 or fewer. I don't know. It gave me e to the -5. You can figure that one out. If we're saying not exactly 2 incorrect, but like 2 incorrect or worse. Because technically any... Well, I don't know, bro. What do I look like? A stats major? I should have made a message about it. Yeah, I'm still going to do that. Ah, shit. I should have done that before. You're right. Okay, here's what I'll do. I'll copy and paste the last one. But no, I definitely should have. I could always redo it. I haven't built the actual sheet yet. Do I scam everybody who just voted? I think if you voted, you're probably in the stream. Well... No, I'm just going to at people now. I'm not going to delete the old messages. Okay, Spawny wants down. Bye. Who is the current champion? The current Discord prediction champion. Aren't there 2? No, it's Mr. Stewie. There was 2 last time. How do I spell Young Shipping? It's Jonkpong, right? I think so. Mr. Stewie 64. There we go. All right. With the announcement out, predictions are open. Vote above. Let's take a look at what we've got so far. Do I want to hide anything? I think it's fine. Let's take a look at the early predictions coming in. See what people are saying. I don't know if you can see that. Probably, though. Immediately, we've got 17... No, okay, there's 1 on each by default. Only 1 person so far voting M&M. It's Lastfire. Lastfire, I know you're in chat. Yonkaping, did I get it? Oh, fuck, I didn't. Shit. Shit, this is why they didn't hire me. Fuck. Shit, fuck. Okay, we got it. Okay. Immediately, okay, we got a second vote in for Eminem. We got a second vote. Once I pinged the Discord, we got some more votes in. 2 votes for Eminem, though. 20 currently for Sonics. Not a great start. CAG Black Dragons is very even. This is a game I have a lot of opinions on, and we'll get to those when we get to the prediction competition. But I think roughly half of the people voting so far are making very poor decisions. FaZe over Direwolves, I mean, yeah. Shrey, what are you doing? JL as well. All my mods going for Direwolves, eh? I don't know about that one. 7 people to 15 going for Mirage. That's almost a third. It's almost a third of everybody picking Mirage over Wolves. That's bold. I appreciate that. We have no bias in our Discord server. A lot of votes for Sandbox. This will be Shrey as well. There he is. And JL. I guess, yeah, mods votes don't count, so they're probably just trolling. Shrey's voting for his heart. TSM Heroic. Kinda close. TSM's the safe pick here. Also, we should probably... I guess most people are on dark mode, so the light emote probably shows better for them. Extra on the Mirage Hate Train. That's for you, Extra. Game 7 BDS SSG. This game is going to be spicy. All of Group C is going to be spicy, but this one's very exciting. No love for Fury. Blaze Best is on it. Okay. All right, Blaze. Let's hear it. That's what I want to see. Eminem is being trolled by Yubi. True, they have to play early in the morning. They play against KAG, not as early in the morning. But they will be playing Cyclops. They've gotten a bit of a boost in the poll. When they're not playing first thing. But they play Cyclops here. Wolves FaZe, really? 11-3 on the votes here. No love for the Wolves. Number 1 seed out of the reigning championship region. That's a little shocking to me. I think I missed Songs Black Dragons as well. I mean, nobody's picking BD there, I hope. Some of you are. Direwolves Mirage. This is the battle that the people want to see. This is a fun one. 9-9. The first even game that we've come across. TSM Sandbox. Yeah. Liquid Heroic. Yeah. W7M SSG. Only 3 people going Space Station over W7M? I knew Blackout would be a believer. But only 2 others with him? That's shocking. Hate EU? I mean, I hate EU. That's why I tweeted the pic of them all getting last. And then, you know, a little bit of love for Fury. Blaze, is Blaze just a mega Fury fan? What's going on? I thought Blaze was an APAC hater. FaZe only losing 1 map all group stage. Interesting. Someone changed their vote? Wait, off of what? Again, changing your votes is allowed. It's kind of cowardly, if we're being real. But as long as the match has not started, you are free to change your vote as well, as much as you'd like. Okay. I'm gonna do a little bit of housekeeping for the prediction competition. Just so that the bot works when I want to close it. I gotta do this. I gotta open this code. And I gotta paste all of these numbers over top of these numbers. And now that the prediction competition is over, well, it's not over, but now that it's open, I will go through and let you know what my predictions are. And we'll see what's up. We'll see what's up being right. Me or the Discord. There should be some competition to see if I can beat the Discord. It's tough, though, because if it's just the best of the Discord versus me, I'm always going to lose because you guys have the sheer number advantage. And if it's the average Discord versus me, I'm always going to win because the average is usually brought down by people who, like, only vote one day. So, I don't know. We'd have to figure something out there. Okay, I think I can just close it now. I should change the name, actually. No, I'm going to keep that. I think that's fine. We'll keep the name as it is. Okay, and then we can close the bot, right? I'm closing the bot. Okay, we got there. Okay. It will still keep track of your predictions. Feel free to keep. Stop capping the bot. Food, stop. Once again, if you want to participate in the Discord competition, it's !Discord. Go to the prediction competition channel. And then make your votes. You just react to the messages. It's so easy. Blaze. I9 is your only hope. I do think Napier, I9's Napier, right? I do think I9 is like fucking goated. I think I9 is a very good player. When I was making my predictions, I'll give you a spoiler real quick. When I was making my predictions earlier this morning, I put Fury last. But I did note, and we'll talk about it soon, I did know that I think I9 is a very good player. Should we start? Should we talk about our predictions? I've got nothing left to do. I said we get into it. I say we get ready to rock. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's do it. Let us roll. Can I unban Demino if DZ wins the major? No, I already told you we're doing a trial for Demino. So here we've got just a screenshot of the groups. Oh, that is awful quality. Why is that? Oh, hold on. That's ugly. That's ugly. I'm going to fix it. We're going to do this right. That's less ugly. Here we once again have a screen with all of the groups A and B. We'll do C and D after. What we're going to do is we're going to move them out. We say goodbye. And then we'll put them back in where they belong. Where that is, that's up for us to decide. Now, we'll be going from Group A to Group D. We'll be going 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. And I'm going to be giving some reasoning for how it goes. Can I double ban Demino if DZ wins the major? Yes. Yes, I can. And so we start with Group A, position D. Do we have any thoughts? Who deserves the last place in Group A? Number 4. Chat, who do you think? And I don't think this is an easy question. I don't think this is an easy question at all. The worst team in Group A. Eminem? Eminem, no two ways about it? I think I had a lot of troubles. I actually had a pretty easy time differentiating between second or top 2 and bottom 2 in this group. I had a difficult time. I'm going to turn the music off. I had a pretty easy time picking who I want to top 2 and bottom 2. I had a pretty difficult time deciding who actually deserved the bottom spot. And I'll let you know, I made a decision I don't think most of chat is agreeing with right now. Because I'm not going to put Eminem in last. And I'm not going to put them in last because I think that they're a better team than any other team here. Because realistically, there's a very high chance Eminem get last. I agree. All right? I agree with that. But I think there is a team in this group who is less likely to make top 2. I think there's a team in this group that does not stack up to the others in this group. And it's a team that I really don't believe will show up and perform under pressure. And that's Black Dragons. I know. We're starting off a little hot. Most people don't have Black Dragons winning the whole thing. But I do think this is a little spicy. And I'll tell you why. Because I don't think Black Dragons are that good. I think they're fine. I think Black Dragons started off the stage really, really well. I think they had an amazing beginning of their season. Sorry. I think they had an amazing start. But towards the end of the stage, they were losing to some teams that I didn't think they should have. And especially when they got to the difficult games in Copa Elite 6, when they started playing against the other BR teams, they didn't look like they were on the same level. What I really noticed watching Copa Elite 6 for Black Dragons was a lack of confidence. They had disastrous drone economy. They were really looking worse and worse, kind of the worse the situation got. Whether they were on attack or defense, it felt like if things started to go bad for Black Dragons, they ended up so much worse. They couldn't ever claw back a disadvantage. And I think in an environment like a major, where everything's on the line, where it's so important for you to be able to bounce back, because there's going to be low points. You're playing some of the best teams in the world. I have very little faith that Black Dragons will make it out of this group. I have less faith that Black Dragons make it out of this group than I do for M&M, than I do for Cyclops, than I do for Sonics, for that matter. Are Black Dragons the worst team in this group? Maybe not. But I have zero faith that they make it out here. I think their mentals look pretty bad. I think there are some positives, especially when you look at their defenses. I think Perez has been a fantastic standout player. I think he's been a really good Azami player for the team. And what I like about their defenses on Black Dragons is I feel they have a good understanding of when to be aggressive and when to hold back. I think they do a pretty decent job at kind of managing the pace of the game on defense. But again, it's largely the nerves when I look at this team. And I don't think to begin with, they were a fantastic squad either. I think pound for pound, you look at the individuals on this team, they definitely don't stand up to Sonics. I don't think they stand up to Cyclops. I don't think they stand up to M&M either. So I don't think they have the individuals to make a deep run at the major or to get out of the groups. I don't think they have the team cohesion. And I certainly don't think they've got that X factor. That wow that's going to push them in and make them win some upsets. So there's my pick. But they're Brazilian, I guess. They're Brazilian, but they're the worst Brazilians. Black Dragons suck. I don't think Black Dragons are that good. Maybe not that hot of a take. And I am then putting M&M in third place. And I have hope for M&M. Not a lot. I think it sucks the position M&M are in, right? They very likely, they've got to play half their matches first thing in the morning. Ridiculous. This is a team that does not typically wake up till like 3 p.m. This is going to be very tough for them. But maybe more important than that is they may not have their full 5-man roster. And that does affect my opinion of things. Even if, right? Even if they get, all 5 players there on the side of M&M, the uncertainty, the stress of having to deal with all of that, maybe having to practice a little bit with your coach if you don't know if Saltov is going to be able to make it or not. It's really tough. Hale says M&M get last if Saltov don't resolve their visas. That's the thing, right? I think if M&M don't have Saltov, they're in real trouble. Because especially when you look at M&M's play, it feels like Saltov is, he's the real starter on attack. If Saltov doesn't get going with a pick when they're taking, it feels like the attack doesn't get off the ground to begin with. There are other great players in M&M. It is not like Saltov carries that team, but I think he plays such an important role on getting things moving that I'm very concerned for the team if he's not a part of the squad when they get into the server. I put this team, again, slightly ahead of Black Dragons, maybe not because they're a better team, but I think because individually they stack up better man for man, and I think because their vibes are better. I believe that M&M could pull some bullshit off, especially if Saltov is there, upset CAG, upset Sonics, either one of them, and make it in. I can see that reality. I just can't see it for Black Dragons. I don't think BD are... I don't think BD have that star power in them. I think M&M just have so many players that can pop off. They've got some incredibly skilled players. Even Nello. I think Nello is such a good support player, fundamentally. On how he plays support. I think Uses is great. I think Tyrant is really great. Obviously, we've talked about Saltov. So I really do think M&M have that potential in them to bounce up for 1 or 2, but I think realistically it's going to be quite unlikely, and especially if Saltov doesn't end up going, it's going to be very tough. Didn't they tweet that he made it? Wait, did he? He has it? Okay. He has it. All right, well, Saltov is going. That's great. I still think they get third. That is excellent to hear, though, and I think that gives them a lot more potential to jump up in the top 2. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see how he does. Can he play? That is potentially a different question. So we've got Cyclops and Sonics in the top 2. And it would be crazy. It would be crazy, right? To not put Sonics up in that top spot. But what if we put them in second? Chat, I want to blow your mind real quick. Because, and this is maybe a hot take. Group A, I understand, is very spicy. I promise they're not all just hot takes. I promise I've got reasons to back these up, and I promise that it's going to get a little bit normal going forward. But A is a bit of a hot take group, and that's why I'm putting Sonics in second. Now, again, I think Sonics have the potential to... I think Sonics are very likely to get first. I think Sonics are the best team in this group. I think Sonics are better than Cyclops. But again, I look at the percentage of like making it into top 2, and I think there's a world where Sonics chokes this. Sonics are an incredible team, especially when you get to attack, right? They've got really, really good executes in terms of coordination and timing. My worry about them, though, comes in 2 forms. Sure, they're incredibly talented, right? You cannot name a bad player on this team. My first worry is their international history. This is a team known for choking at lands. Whether they go into, every event that they seem to go into, it feels like they should be a top 8, top 4 team. And all too consistently, maybe with the exception of SI, they're really not hitting the high bar that I think we expect from them. I also think there were a few games towards the end of this stage which kind of sowed some doubt into my mind. They didn't have a single opening kill on defense against Astralis. They lost a lot of important defenses against Oxygen as well. And when I take a look at the other team that's fighting, in my opinion, for this top spot, I think Cyclops is one of those teams that can really mess with Sonics. Sonics are a team that have struggled with throwing. Cyclops will get in your head. They will make you tilt. They will make you throw. Sonics are a team that we saw towards the end of the stage, especially in that Astralis game, struggle with a really fast, aggressive type of play style. Kind of got run over. Cyclops can do that. That's where Cyclops shines. And as I move Cyclops back into that first spot, and we can talk about them a little bit, I don't think they're a pushover team. I get it. They're from APAC. They've got an easy league. They've struggled all year. They've not been that top APAC team that we've seen from them before. But I think this stage, they've hit that level of consistency in APAC North that we've been waiting to see from them for so many stages now. And I do wonder if part of that is because the Japanese scene in general has grown so much in this past year. Now, you can look at the Japanese league and you can look at that and say, Cyclops don't do that well. And that's fair. That's fair. Cyclops are not the number 1 team in the Japanese league. They lost to Crest? Oh, I'm going to look this up. They lost to some rando team you've never heard of in the Japan Invitational. Was it Crest? Is this going to be easy to find? Yeah, Crest Gaming. Yeah. Right? They lost in like upper bracket quarterfinals to Crest Gaming. That's bad. But I think that the level of skill, especially towards the top of the Japanese National League, is very high. And it was a best of 5 that they lost in. So it was not, and it went all 5 maps. So it was not like an easy knockout for them. While I think Cyclops obviously have choked in lands before, they've got far more experience than any other team in this group. I think they'll be able to learn from those mistakes, and I've got high hopes for them. This might be a copium pick. This might be a pick with my heart more than anything else for Cyclops up in first. I don't think they get relegated. Or I don't think they go out in third or fourth. Maybe Eminem makes some play, and Sonics are solid. They don't throw or anything, and Cyclops do get third. But I think it's pretty unlikely that Cyclops don't make it out of this group. A lot of people were saying Cyclops 4, Cyclops have no chance, APAC's done. I think this looks pretty decent for APAC. I don't know how far Cyclops get when they make the playoffs. We have to see the bracket. But all in all, I don't think Cyclops are a bad team. There's my argument. And then when they get fourth in the group, we can clip back to this, okay? Gunner's not a bad player. There are no bad players on Sonics. How dare you call the dentists unknown? All right. Okay, that's my Group A. Bit of a hot take. We'll cool it down a little bit for Group B. But I'm obviously APAC fans celebrate now because I'm putting Sandbox in 4th. Listen. I think Cyclops did well, and this may be a confusing pick because Sandbox beat Cyclops. Is that correct? In APAC North, I believe Sandbox was the only team to beat out Cyclops. Cyclops lost only 1 game this stage. Let me triple check that that's actually correct. Yep. It was an overtime game. It was the second last match of the stage. It's an 8-6, very close. But I put Sandbox in 4th place versus Cyclops up in 1st. Why'd I do that? First of all, thank you very much, Aqua, for the gifted tier 1 sub to Tink. Fresh in the chat as well. I saw Fresh putting CAG in 3rd earlier on the timeline today. Sandbox are going all the way down into Group B, and there's a couple of reasons why I think Sandbox have a much worse chance than making it than Cyclops. First of all, Sandbox have maybe the worst attacks of any team going to Sweden. Their attacks are really bad. They're so one-dimensional. I think they've struggled to change them up and to make big switches when they come across kind of strong obstacles in the defense that they don't have a good plan to deal with. I think their defenses are to an extent propped up by the fact that they play in a league where a lot of teams are bad at attacking. Indy, stop jumping on your sister. I'm going to spray you with this water because you're a bad girl. I think Static can be clutch. I think Arkaze sometimes has some good flanks and stuff. But realistically, I think Sandbox may not win a game. I also think this is a much tougher group than what Cyclops have to deal with. I think Black Dragons are pretty bad. I think Eminem are like kind of bad with some potential for upsets. So I think Cyclops like have a lot easier of a field to deal with versus Sandbox, who have TSM Liquid, 2 beasts of teams, and Heroic, who's not bad. Not bad. We'll say that. CAG don't have the consistency yet. I mean, they were incredibly consistent this stage. This was my argument, right? I think that Cyclops throughout this year have not been consistent. I agree. But this stage, they were undefeated for almost the entire time, dominant over the bottom tier teams. And yeah, they were bottom tier teams, right? You know, they're beating like Fnatic and Fav and Spear. But still, very strong games all around until they lost to Sandbox. But even that, I don't think... I don't know. I don't think that's the end of the world, nail in the coffin. And they slammed Fnatic a week after. So I think that consistency has been found. Bit of a gamble, perhaps. It's a small sample size. But that's my gamble here. Cursing the other regions. There we go. Anyways, I'm bouncing around. I don't think Sandbox do anything in this major, unfortunately. I think they go out in 4th. And that's where I'm keeping them. Then 3rd place. Now, Fresh, I believe, had TSM 3rd place in this group. That's because he's a hater, okay? And because we are also going to return the hate, we're going to put Heroic in 3rd place. If Fresh hates on NA, we are allowed to hate on Europe, and we're putting them right there in 3rd. I don't think they're a bad team, though. I think people in general sleep on Heroic. Heroic have, since the beginning of the year, since I got prepped for Charlotte, I've thought Heroic have been a pretty strong team. Now, they've made a lot of changes, or they've made some changes since then. But I think Heroic are good. And I think Heroic have it in them to make top 2 in this group. I think that's in the cards. I'm worried about their lack of experience. Obviously, this team did go to 1 major, but compared to the other teams in this group, they are relatively inexperienced, and they have made changes in the past. I think Grizzly kind of showed, especially towards that tail end of EUL, how impactful he can be when the stakes get high. He was playing very well towards the end when they needed to fight tooth and nail for this last spot. I think Benja is a really talented player who can play rangefully pretty well. I think the team can excel in taking down some of those fast tempo defenses, like what we saw from Rogue, right? That very final play day of EUL, it's Rogue versus Heroic. Winner gets the spot in the major, loser does not, I believe, for the stakes, or at least it was similar to that. And they put him in the dirt. They absolutely shut it down. So I think this team has a lot of potential, and I think they could make top 2 here. It's like a 7-1. Yeah. Rogue were doing the same kind of wild defensive, kind of aggro plays on defense that they like to play that won them a major. Not that they didn't make any mistakes, but Heroic did a great job, in my opinion, of shutting that down. So Heroic have a lot going for them. I think the biggest thing that really doesn't get them top 2 for me is I just don't think they match up 1-1. As good as I think Heroic have played in the past, and as experienced as some of their players are, I mean, they have Uno, I don't think you can compare a player like Uno or a player like Benja to somebody like Snake or somebody like Palu. And unfortunately, those are the opponents they're going up against in this group. So I've got to keep them in third. They could get fourth or they could get second. They could bounce up, but in my mind, they're still third. Chat saying Zeroic fourth. Yeah. I don't think they get fourth. I don't think Heroic are that bad. I would be very surprised if Heroic lose to Sandbox. I'm expecting Sandbox to go like 0 wins. I don't expect that for Black Dragons, and I don't expect that for a lot of the tier for the 4th seeds. But Sandbox are a 0-win team. Potentially. Did I rank A as seeded? Wait, what do you mean? Rank A is done. This is my final ranking for A. Good morning, Cash. Liquid gets last in this group. All right, stop trolling. So Liquid and TSM were my top 2. Not a controversial top 2. This is what most people have for their top 2. The question is the order. I'm putting Liquid second. Yeah, let's get some Bolo stands in the chat. Let's get some copium going for North America. Because Liquid, I think, are a good team, but I don't think they're that team yet. I don't think Liquid are in their final form. I'm still waiting for the day that Liquid look like a major winning team again, and I don't think they're there today. What we saw in the Copa Elite 6 was a team that took a lot of early fights, sometimes to their advantage, sometimes not. We saw a team that sometimes had troubles pushing. They would go a little bit individually at times. They didn't always have the awareness that we wanted to see from them. They didn't always have that intel when they were going for pushes. And we saw a team that whilst they proved they were strong, they made mistakes. And they made mistakes that in a major will absolutely cost them in a way that Hispanic teams in Copa Elite 6 will not punish as hard. Now there are some positives. Palu is still the best player in the world. I really believe that. I don't think anybody else has the impact for their team that Palu has for Liquid. Obviously, there are teams that there are players that win more. There are players maybe that get more kills. I actually don't even know if that's true. There probably are though. But Palu's impact is just incredible, and he gets a ridiculous amount of kills. I think every single game that Palu is in the server, he has the potential to absolutely take over and ruin the enemy team. And so you can never count Liquid out. You can never count them out. I also think Lagonis is slotted in so well, you wouldn't have even known he was a new pickup. Lagonis is looking so good on Liquid. I really have been impressed with how well he's moved in. It feels like Liquid have had this playstyle this stage that really does focus the objectives quite well. Lagonis is going for a lot of those plants. It seems to be working well with the rest of the team. I think he's doing great. There have been questions. About Nesk. Nesk has not had the best stage ever. He's not been awful. He's not been bad, even, I would say. But he's not been that star that Liquid have had him as in the past. I don't know how big of a problem that's really going to be for them. I think Palu is still playing an amazing level. I think the rest of the team is playing well. People criticize Ask and resets. Mostly resets, right? I'm getting them mixed up. It's whatever one's not the support player. Ask is the support, right? Yeah. Ask people don't really criticize very much. Resets people criticize sometimes. I think he's playing fine. I think he's playing well. Ask and resets maybe the two biggest question marks on this team, but they still play. They're still a good team. They still have Palu. I don't think they lose to Heroic. I think their fragging power and their experience puts them into playoffs for me, but I'm not so sure about winning the tournament. I'm not so sure about getting first. And chat explodes. TSM has 2 rookies. They do. They have 2 rookies, but I'm putting them top of the group anyways. Call it NA bias. Call it a tier 3 Bolo sub. I don't care. I'm putting TSM in first. Why am I putting TSM above Liquid? It's not an easy decision. It was a tough call for me to pick between TSM and Liquid. On the positives, I think the established players of TSM, particularly Merc, has had a really strong stage this stage. He's been the most impactful player in my mind for TSM on attack and defense. Merc just makes stuff happen in the early game, and I do wonder if part of the reason why he's been able to get so aggressive and get so much value out of the early round for TSM is because he's playing alongside Snake. I think Snake was one of the best entries in all of North America this stage, and those two as a duo, Merc plus Snake, feel so deadly, and they give TSM such an amazing start to every single round that they find themselves in. They as a combo make TSM maybe definitely the best entry team in North America, maybe in the world. To top that off, you've got Gasher, who has come onto this team, and I think who has been an incredible support player. I think he's really been using utility so well to win matches, to have differences in the game. I think especially in the late stages of a round, he feels really comfortable playing these operators like Echo. You know, these operators can be kind of difficult on defense, and playing them very, very well. It is still a new team, though. And as much as you love to praise TSM, and as much as the new pickups are great, coming into your first major with 2 new rookies, even if one of them's LAN experienced, is always going to be tough. There were some problems this stage as well. TSM did not have a flawless stage, even though they got first seed in North America by any stretch of the imaginations. It was not all smooth sailings. There were some problems with droning. There were some problems with stalling out, and Bolo really did have some moments where he struggled. And we've talked about that in the past for a couple different stages now. Right in this stage that we just watched, it felt like there were a lot of rounds where Bolo kind of was the guy stalling out, was the one that didn't necessarily know what the next step was at times. I think it was minor enough that TSM still get the first placement here, and Bolo had good games too. Bolo was not a bad player of the stage, but he had moments. He had moments where he was making mistakes and he was losing rounds for TSM. And so there are potential problems brewing for TSM, and I think it will be difficult for them to win. I think it will be difficult for TSM to win the major. They obviously can't go to SI. They don't have enough points. But top of this group is possible, and I got faith that they can do it. I got faith. Who wins the major and why is a sandbox? And it's a T3 league. What are these ratings? No, sir. Spoit mid, Gasher goat. Gasher is so goat. Who wins the major and why is it Sonics? I will well, my take isn't hot on who wins it. Where are the hot takes, Jesse? Group A. Group A, okay? Group B's not that hot. Group A is going to be kind of hot. You want hot take? Let's take a look at Group C. Let's pull up Group C real fast, shall we? Let me get a screenshot, and then we'll pull them in. You want the hot takes? All right, fine. Let's jump into the hot takes. Group C is spicy because there's no real cold takes in Group C. It's very hard to make a cold take in Group C, at least when it comes to the overall. Let's get it out of the way fast. Obviously, Fury get last. We're not crazy. We're not that hot. The hot takes will come in top 3. But yeah, I mean, Fury are in an incredibly tough group. They are far less experienced than most teams at this major. Are they the 4th seed of APAC? They are, right? Are they technically 4th seed? I believe so, because I mean it depends on points, but I think 14 points to 12. Yeah, I mean they're the last team out of the weakest region against 3 teams that, at least at certain points of time, were considered to be the best teams in each of their respective regions. W7M, I would say, is currently considered to be the best Brazilian team, by many people. BDS has an argument to be the best team in Europe. I don't know if I would call them the best team in Europe. They didn't get first seed, right? No, Wolves got first seed. Maybe I would, though. I don't know. I can't answer that question. Fresh might be able to. And SSG, who I think also have a very strong argument for being a top team in NA, maybe the best. Genuinely, SSG could be considered the best team in North America. Most people say TSM, they're probably right, but there's definitely an argument for SSG. So for Fury, this is just not a winnable major. If they win a game, they should be very happy. I think there are positives, you know. I think I9, aka Napew, is a great player. He's won a lot of fights this stage. I think he's still very, very good. I think he especially shines as a strong attacking player. And in a region where that can be hard to come by, I think that's pretty valuable. I think the setups from Fury have been good. I think they play the meta. I think they know what works in Siege. They know what doesn't. They're not like a Cyclops who needs to reinvent the game in order to find wins. You know, they play a normal-ish standard kind of style of Siege, and they play it well enough to get top 2 in APAC South. Do they play it well enough to beat Space Station, BDS, and W7M? No. Also, just on an individual one-to-one skill level kind of standpoint, Napew is great, but especially when you look deeper in this lineup, nobody's lining up against fucking Rampy, Lycofak, Rinshiro, fucking Hot and Cold, Yeti, KZ, all the other gunners on W7M. No, unfortunately not in this one. I9's this year's Yas. Played a different role in Elevate, didn't do super well. Switch roles, Fury's doing so much better. Yeah, I9's a great player. I9's a great player, and I hope he plays well here. And I hope that the team either gets better for invite, or I hope that maybe he makes... it's hard to get picked up. It's hard to get picked up, right? Because there are only 2 good Thai teams, and one of them dropped you already. So he kind of has to just hope his teammates improve around him. All right, I already hot takes this one to Fresh on Twitter, but I'm putting BDS in 3rd. And I think this is the prediction that's going to give me the most heat. I think this is the prediction that people are going to be the most upset with me for, because it's hard to justify BDS in 3rd, and it's I have my reasons, but I think BDS are looking very strong right now. BDS have managed to find Shaiko too. They found Lycofak, which is insane. I don't know how one team keeps pumping out so many good players, but Lycofak really has been the new bright star on BDS. And he's been fantastic. He was really good for the team in the stage. He was very solid for the team at the Japan Invitational. I think my main concern is just how much the team seems to be utilizing him. I don't think reliant on him is the right way to put it. I don't think they're reliant on Lycofak, but he does carry a lot of weight. He gets a large portion of the kills. And to have that for a rookie, for kind of your 1-star player to be coming in and have that much weight on him, I think it's going to be very difficult. Now, he's played at LAN before. He went to the Japan Invitational, and he played well. I think that's a huge positive for me. But I don't know if it's enough against that level of competition for me to put BDS up into top 2. And you could say that these similar arguments for putting BDS in 3rd also applied to TSM, and I put them first. And you may be right, but I have 2 things to say about that. Number 1, I think TSM are less reliant on a guy like Snake than BDS are on a guy like Lycofak. And number 2, EU stinky NA bias. Get fucked, idiots. So unfortunately, that's how it goes. I'm off. That's awful. We'll see, Fresh. We'll see. This is a hard one to call. BDS are a great team, but I'm just not sold. I'm not sold on the fact that they have so much to rely on for Lycofak. I think especially like there are moments in EUL where Lycofak really did start out slow. You look at games like against Outsiders, he started very slow. Even against M&M early, sometimes he was making some swings that just weren't working out. Was a little over aggressive. Credit to where credit is due. He did bounce back on both those games. I believe he ended both matches positive. He ended them both with pretty decent ratings in either case. So he did have some bounce back performances despite starting slow. And it's good to see that. but they were against Outsiders and M&M. Now you're against Space Station W7M. In my opinion, there's a bit of a difference there. And I also think, and I already tweeted this to Fresh, but I also think that BDS are a team that have a lifelong history of choking at lands. Now, yes, as Fresh pointed out, they won their last 2 lands that they went to. They won both Gamers 8 and the Japan Invitational. You know, they beat a tier 3 Japanese team and a Saudi team. And I'm downplaying those more than they should be. Those were good teams in those events, and they shouldn't be entirely discredited. But this is a higher level of competition. Maybe it will take a while before BDS choke. Maybe they make it out of groups and they get to quarters or semis and then they struggle. But I do think that at some point BDS fall flat, and I think they fall here. I also think that SSG and W7M are fucking insane. I think these are 2 of the best teams in the tournament, and when we get to predicting the bracket stage, you will come to understand what I mean by that. But I think both these teams have played amazing this stage. Let's start with Space Station, who I am putting in second. The NAL Stage 3 MVP Yeti, I think, was a huge breath of fresh air for Space Station. I said this before the stage started. I didn't initially say it, because when I first saw the pickup, I was like, I don't know if Yeti's the answer. I had a chat with Lycan. He changed my mind, and then they backed it up with amazing play. I think SSG are a team that are really proficient in the art of slowing down the attackers when they're specifically on defense, right? Slowing down the enemy attacks. I think Bosco does a lot of work there that he doesn't often get credit for. Bosco can be a really strong support player without really popping up on the scoreboard as often as maybe some other support players have. But I think he does do a really good job on helping out with that stall. And then you take that kind of time waste capability that SSG is very good at as a team, and you combine it with hype plays from Yeti or from Rampy, and it makes SSG's defenses just look very, very good, especially on the numbers. When you look at the defensive stats from SSG, they look fantastic. Now, some people will look at the stats, and they will say, but SSG's attacking stat is bad. And it is. When you look at the numbers, SSG's attacking win rate from stage from stage 3, was abysmal. It's a 44%. It's very low for a team of this caliber going to the major. But I think those stats are very heavily skewed by the fact that at the start of the stage, they were not having good takes. They were throwing advantages against Mirage. They weren't able to find a footing against either Sonics or Oxygen. These were all really early games where SSG threw a lot of rounds on attack, or otherwise didn't play that well on attack. And I think they got way more consistent with their pushes towards the end of the stage. And I think that negative attacking stat, which for many people may be the main reason why they pick SSG to go out third in this group, is a bit of a red herring, and I don't think it accurately describes where SSG's attacks are right now. Now, the final game of the stage kind of broke my stat because their attacks versus TSM weren't great. Rampy and Faults didn't show up to that game, but all in all, they had some amazing attacks towards the end of the stage. I believe through 3 rounds, the final 3 games of the stage, other than the actual last, so 3 of the 4 final games of the stage, they didn't drop a single attacking round. They were flawless on attack. Now, on a lot of those games, they kind of dominated and they started on defense. So their overall kind of number of rounds that they won on attack was not very high, but it was still flawless. And attacking, it's not an easy side to go flawless on because you're very first out of the gate. You have to go against the defensive team's strongest sites, and then they get to adjust, and they get to continuously adjust, go to whatever site they want. Whereas on defense, sometimes you can cheese like 1 or 2 easy rounds early. It's very hard to do that with attack. But Space Station Gaming got it done. And I'm not trying to argue they're the best attacking team in the entire tournament, but they are much better than the stats often suggest. And they are a dangerous team coming into this major, undoubtedly. And I think, if I'm being honest, SSG are so plant-focused, they might as well be vegan. All right, I like that. That's funny. If I'm being honest, I think my main reason for putting SSG over BDS is because I've got so much faith in Space Station. And I'm like, I've watched them a lot more. So I've watched SSG a lot. I think they're being massively slept on. And so I'm putting them above BDS. If we're being truthful, I picked SSG over BDS because I have a lot of faith in SSG, and it's not as much of a reflection on BDS as it is a reflection on the confidence I have in Space Station. Biased analyst, what are they going to do? Fire me from the event? Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, and we have W7M topping out the group. As many people expect, Fresh for some reason put this team up in the last, which, not last. I forgot Fury were in the group. Fresh somehow justified putting this team in third, which I don't get, but he explained himself on Twitter. W7M are an incredible team. They're really just on top of their game right now. KZ will single-handedly just win rounds in a team for the team in a way that very few people in the world can. I think beyond him, the team is very strong still. JV92 has really stood out to me on attack, not as a heavy fragger, but as somebody whose positioning is really good, whose flank watch is really, really good, and as somebody who can support the rest of the team and allow them to do what they do without interruption. JV92, for my mind, does an amazing job on attack, stopping shit from going wrong. He's there with the air jabs. He's there with the flank watch. And he's there kind of letting KZ or whoever else wants to frag, Volps, Herds, whatever, letting them get in and take the fights they want to take. Is it flawless? Have they never been flanked on? No. Sometimes stuff does slip past them. But in general, I think he does a really good job in that role. Stalling out has been a bit of a mixed issue for them. I'm really excited to see how their attacks look against Space Station particularly. And BDS, but like mostly against Space Station. Because I think SSG have done a good job of making teams stall. And it's a problem that W7M sometimes have struggled with and sometimes have like gone up against a team that's like really wants to make them stall and just burst right through them. My prediction is W7M can get past those SSG defenses and W7M will be able to just frag out of their mind and make it forward. But I'm excited to see. W7M SSG is a very fun game that I'm really looking forward to watching. On defense, this team looks flawless. We talked a lot about their attacks. On defense, they are so much better than they were on attack even. Everyone in this roster is so good at applying pressure without overextending and dying. I really appreciate how well they can continuously be active and somehow not lose players when they're going for these roams, when they're going for these swings, when they're trying to get aggressive and stop the attackers from doing what they want to do. I already mentioned it, but like obviously KZ is there. I think guys like Volps and Herds also do an amazing job in that regard. You know, they're not going to let KZ go out on an island and do it alone. KZ, I feel like, often does work really well with his teammates. And sure, he's the star. He's the one who's going to pop off and get all the stat lines. But he does have that help with him. So if something goes wrong, the trade is usually there, which I appreciate. I think the late game is very strong as well. Their decision-making seems nice. They're willing to play kind of anywhere in the map. It has been refreshing to see from a defensive play style. All in all, it's 5 individuals who work so well together. It's hard not to put them here. It's hard not to put them in first. And I think for many people, this is the favorite team to win the major, and there's a damn good reason why. I really want to read Fresh's essay on why they're bad. Fresh, known W7M hater, longtime believer that Brazilians all suck at Siege and that KZ is probably the worst player he's ever seen. But he thinks the big reason that they're strong front maps. So you don't think their map pool is very good. And you think their strong maps are also good maps for BDS and SSG? Okay. I think that's fair. I will say maps are not something I pay as much attention to, I think, as you do. I think I'm more focused on play styles and such. And I think a reason for that is because I think map pools, especially with such a long break, can change dramatically. And I hope, maybe I'm wrong, but I hope that team like W7M will be improving and changing up their map pool before they get to an event like this. Maybe they won't. But I do think I do think that's not going to be a problem for them. I think it's a good point, though. I think that's good analysis, and it's something I hadn't. That's something that does deserve thought, 100%. You did really have a stroke there, Poseidon. It's okay. We'll let you try again. You hope W7 can play on site this time? I think they're strong when they don't play on site. I don't hate them not playing on site. I think it's something that we'll talk about with FaZe Clan soon, but I don't think it's a huge weakness. to hold a lot of the map. I think they're good at it. I think W7 are very good at spreading out. All right. Let's move into the final group here. Direwolves, FaZe Clan, Mirage, and Wolves. For me, this was the easiest to pick top 2. Picking first or second was kind of tough. And picking third, fourth was kind of tough. But for me, this was pretty easy to pick top 2. There's not going to be a huge hot take of who makes it out. Like, I think Group C was tough to pick who gets top 2. Group B was tough to pick who gets top 2. And Group A even was really tough to call. But Group B, I'm going to start by shedding my NA bias and putting Mirage down in last. Listen. Nobody wants to see it. And I think that I've said a lot of good things about Mirage this stage. I've really been a big Mirage supporter this stage. Long before Mirage locked in their spot at the Major, I said this team was playing really, really well. And I was really impressed by them. Now, let's focus on the positives. Number one, I think Melted is playing great. I think he's playing a really strong support role for the team. He's been one of the most clutch players in all of North America. He is a player that did not have a great Stage 2 at all. I think he was the worst player in Stage 2. He looks so much better, and I think is arguably the best player on this team right now. Yeah, I'd make that argument. He's got incredible impact. Being able to claw back rounds that Mirage just do not deserve to win in many of those later games, especially in Stage 3, when they kind of did a bit of a swap, right? I don't know if it was a full-on, hard, we're swapping these players' roles completely, but I think there's a bit of mingling in the roles for Melted and Mohesi, and it kind of allowed Mohesi to get a little bit more flexible, and Mo's been great in that realm as well. He's been smart, he's been flexible, he's been an interesting player to watch. Mohesi does remind me a lot of Gasher for TSM, as two kind of support players that have come onto the field and just been very creative and smart in their play. And I love how Mohesi has moved into this roster, especially as he's grown since the stage started. Dexter came out of the gates absolutely frying players, beating out some of the best players in all of NA, beating players that should be way better than him, but he's absolutely crushing. I think Benji's having maybe the best stage of his entire career. But this is a major, and their defenses on a small selection of maps, while it carried them through the NAL, probably doesn't carry them through this major, especially not with this group where you've got two strong teams and Direwolves. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for them to pull through all of here. I also think their attacks have not been good. They've kind of got the sandbox problem where their takes look quite rocky at times. I think their takes look better than sandbox. It's hard to compare, and they aren't even in the same group, so we won't really get an answer to that. But they do look weak, and the stats kind of reflect that. Oftentimes, their takes look a little bit one-dimensional. They're kind of walk-in, take fights rather than getting a significant advantage before going for that execute, which I think is a really important step that they often miss. I haven't liked a lot of their lineups on attack either. Sometimes I watch them and I just don't get the opposite they're playing. Whether it was Kento trying to make Finka work at the very beginning of the stage, or I think it was Benji who just really wanted to make Ying work one game and it just was not working and he kept playing it. Even Dexter is a player who brings a lot of nades and does not throw a lot of nades, and I kind of question maybe if these nades were on a different player, would they get used more, such like that. I don't know. I've had a lot of questions about Mirage's attacks throughout the stage. Their defenses have definitely been where they've been able to shine. I think it's where Melted has popped off the most. I think it's where Mohesi has popped off the most. And I even think earlier on in the stage where Dexter popped off the most. But yeah, their takes are kind of poor. So I hope this team does well. I hope they learn a lot. But I do unfortunately have to put them last in this group. It's also hilarious that Mirage made the major. Shout out to them. Benjamin Currency on the way to the top. Keep sleeping on Direwolves? I will. I'm putting Direwolves in third. Direwolves. I don't think Direwolves are very good. I don't think they're a strong team. Which is sad to say. I would love to say that they were a strong team. I think Direwolves may very well finish last in this group. I think Mirage could beat Direwolves. I think if Mirage can get to a map where they're comfortable on a couple different occasions, I don't see Dire Wolves or Mirage beating FaZe or Wolves. But I could see Mirage like getting a game and then winning on like round diff over Dire Wolves. Or even winning both games over Dire Wolves, if I'm being honest. I could see it. I think a lot of the defenses, or at least a few of them from Dire Wolves, kind of late in the stage, had some really weird, kind of bad plays. Like, Dire Wolves are the only team that I think only team with the major that make quite fundamental mistakes on defense to such a large extent. I mean, sometimes, like, Ed or Piken are two players that I've noticed just walk out into, like, an angle without realizing the angle exists. Sometimes on defense, it does feel like sometimes there are just lapses in understanding of the game state on the side of Dire Wolves, which feels like a pretty fundamental issue. On attack, Piken, I think, sometimes gets a little bit too isolated from the rest of its team. He likes to clear things by himself, sometimes without even a drone in front of him. And sometimes that'll, like, work for a little while, but then the team will catch on to it and they'll shut it down. And I think at a major especially, that's going to get shut down really, really fast. I don't think Piken's going to get away with a lot of stuff they did get away with in Stage 3, inside of APAC South. There are positives to this team. It's not all bad. I think Reaps has been an amazing pickup. Every game, regardless of what the rest of his team is doing, Reaps has looked fantastic. Reaps feels like a player who really wants to prove himself and who I'm very excited to see on LAN. Despite the fact that I don't think Dire Wolves are going to do anything interesting this event, I'm very excited to see what Reaps does. If nothing else for this team, I'm excited to see how he does. Because he's been a player that's been popping off. He's fragging out of his mind. And, not always fragging enough to get his team wins, even in APAC South. And I don't think it'll be enough in this group. But he's been a cracked player. And I am excited to see how he does here. There's a bunch of nerds in Discord playing Pokemon. After the stream is over, I will go play Pokemon. Just so you know. I haven't started yet, but I'm picking the cat, and we're going to go play. I think Dire Wolves pull out a huge win against Wolves. I could see it happening, actually. I could see Wolves throwing a game, and that's why I put them in second. That's why I did not put them over FaZe Clan in this prediction. Spoilers, the cat is a grass type. Stream Pokemon? I don't have the ability to stream Pokemon. I'm not set up to stream, unfortunately. I'd hang out in the Discord, though. Anyways. We're talking about Siege. And I'm putting Wolves in fourth. In second. What am I saying? Yeah, second seed for Wolves. I think so. Wolves did get first seed in EUL, but they lost 3 games. And even European Stan and Brazilian Hater Fresh put them in second, so I feel a little bit vindicated here. And I think when you look at those losses that Wolves had, they struggled landing some of their attacks. Now, in the games Wolves were winning, their attacks, I didn't watch every game, I'll be honest. But they're, at least stats-wise, their attacks looked good in the games they were winning. But on the games that I did watch, and especially on some of the games that I watched where they were losing, their attacks were struggling to land. They stalled quite a bit. And oftentimes, Mowgli was just dying early. I went and looked at the stats even for Mowgli. He's dying early a lot. And failing to have an impact on a large percentage of rounds. And in those games that Wolves were losing, it felt like that was often a direct like path, right? Mowgli fails the opening pick or he dies without having an impact, and the team has no other way to get forward, get aggressive. Now, he's had his moments while we're focusing on Mowgli. I think Mowgli is an insanely talented player, but the fact that he's dead in more than 4 out of 5 rounds means that it's such a gamble on how much value he's actually going to get before he becomes just out of the round, before he can no longer make plays. So I'm worried about the pushing of Wolves if Mowgli dies early. Now, on defense, there are other players that I've seen make some plays. I think Shinka has been really good. I think P4 has been able to make some plays happen on defense. So it's, there's some positives there. I don't think it's an overly complicated game for Wolves, right? They can play kind of default a lot of the time. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel like a Cyclops or even like an SSG might be a more apt comparison. They, you know, they play the game, and usually they play it well. They play a very strong game. People talk about Bibu a lot. I don't know. Maybe I'm sleeping on Lycofac. I'm definitely sleeping on Bibu. I think Bibu's good, but I think the impact that Bibu has had in the games that I've watched has been a lot less than somebody like Lycofac or like Tyrant in the UL. He's a good player, and I don't want to like downplay him, but I would be surprised if he took over in the same way that many players on FaZe could, you know? Like, I don't think Bibu has anywhere near the star power or the singular winning power that somebody like Cyber has. And for that reason, I got to put Wolves in the second here, underneath FaZe Clan. The Direwolves won all of the games in the APAC South. Did they? My mistake then. I believe I said they lost some games. I was probably thinking of Stage 2 then. Fair enough. Last but not least, the last team we need to talk about, we will be predicting playoffs as well. People woke up with EWL clutching every game. Interesting. Is FaZe. FaZe is really bad in CES? I disagree. Let's talk about them. I think FaZe have played... Listen. We have criticized FaZe on the stream before. We have not always been kind to FaZe Clan. Despite the fact that they have made some troll plays. And despite the fact they've had some amazing majors. Obviously, they won and made it to the finals of the last major. We've been very critical of FaZe in the past. They are a team who are known to troll. But I personally really liked a lot of the stuff they were doing in Copa Elite 6. Let's talk about what I like first, and we'll talk about the stuff that I didn't like. Because it wasn't all positive, but I think a lot of it was positive. First of all, I liked their holds. I think when you look at FaZe from a top-down structural POV, FaZe has some of the best setups of any team in all of Siege. I think the reason why they're able to put together so many of these fantastic, intricate, complicated defenses is because their coordination as a 5-man roster is on another level. And the way they play together allows them to rock these defensive setups that just look so good. Whether it's actually holding down of sites with really good anchors, or whether it's intel being used to support a 3 or 4-man roam kind of above the site or away from the site, FaZe go into every defensive round with a really strong game plan right off the bat. And most of the time, that plan works out for them. Sometimes that plan has a hole in it. I think when FaZe lose rounds on defense, it's usually because a team will be able to get behind them, will be able to disrupt the plan in a way that FaZe maybe didn't expect or didn't have somebody covering a specific angle in a certain way. Typically, to defeat FaZe's defenses, a team will have to kind of wiggle their way in, find a crack where one exists, and exploit it. 9 times out of 10, if a team is trying to attack FaZe's setup head on, if they're trying to attack FaZe the way FaZe wants them to attack them, they're going to lose. It's not going to work. They're going to fall flat. So I think when you look at the defenses, FaZe, especially if, like, from an analytical point of view, from an analyst, they're a really easy team to like. On attack, it's a lot more turbulent. All right, they're not bad. I don't think they're bad on attack. And I think when you look at a specific few maps, FaZe's attacks are fantastic. Chalet is kind of the main one that pops out to me as an amazing attacking FaZe map, right? They know that map really well, and they've just got attacking down to a T. They're good at it. They're extremely good. I also think that FaZe are a team that are very good at identifying what the enemy defenders want to do. I think they're good at identifying, okay, the enemy is roaming here. We got to bring a roam clearing operator. The enemy team is giving us this for free. We're going to take this for free. I don't think they're always good at using that information that they clearly have and using it to win a round. For example, maybe they recognize that there's a heavy roam above them, and they recognize that they're going to be flanked potentially, so they have a flank watch. They maybe bring a Nomad or whatever, but they still get flanked anyways. They still lose to that flanker. And that's been kind of a problem that we saw from them in Copa Elite 6. Oftentimes, I feel like you'll see FaZe playing the right operators, doing the right things, but losing anyways to stuff that they look like they should be prepared to stop. I think their overall performance in Copa Elite 6 was fine. I didn't watch every Copa Elite 6 game, but I watched a lot of them. I watched, like, the important ones. Like, I missed a lot of the... Like, I didn't watch FaZe Pampas. But I watched FaZe Liquid, where FaZe played an amazing game. Definitely played better than Liquid did. But lost out in 2 15-round games. That's not what I wanted. And then I watched FaZe Black Dragons, was the other one I ended up watching. Where, again, I think they played fantastically. And then FaZe Liquid we watched as well. This game was bad. This was one bad best of 3. I don't think it defines FaZe. I think these games were much more telling of how well FaZe played. Where even if they're losing a map, it's going 12 rounds or it's going 15. Then the one best of 3 that they did lose, which sent them out, in third. Bad bank, and honestly, like, this theme park's not even that bad. Their attacks this game were like clearly the weak point, right? 0 attacking rounds and 1 attacking round. And I said their attacks were turbulent, and that kind of is what's been happening sometimes for FaZe. But in general, I do think that they've been really, really strong. And I feel very confident putting FaZe up in first. They're also FaZe. Like, they've won a major before. They were in the finals of the last major. By a lot of metrics, they should just be the favorites based on the fact that they were in the finals last time. And Rogue aren't here. FaZe farmed the Mexican and South American teams, and even then, 4 of their players were negative. Souls carried them. I don't really care. Right? I don't really care if, like, again, I didn't watch this game, nor did I watch this game. Because, like, these aren't the level of opponents FaZe is going to be playing when they go to the major. Right? These are the level of opponents FaZe are going to be playing, and they played well in these games. So that's all I really care about. FaZe kind of weird, regionally mid, but top 3 every international event. I mean, they're a pop-off team. They win when it matters, right? Yardi said FaZe were getting grouped. I feel a lot less bad about saying that the BDS are getting grouped now after hearing that. Thank you. Okay. So let's draw a bracket. And what I've done is I rewrote all these predictions already. I've got a big document I'm reading off of that I wrote up this morning to concisely deliver my thoughts. Concisely. We are an hour and a half into the stream. But what I did was I generated a bracket using a random number generator, and I predicted the games in those bracket. So I'm going to reveal to you what the games were that I generated, and as I reveal those games to you, I will tell you what I would predict if those games were to happen. Obviously, the bracket is hard to predict because we don't even know if the teams are going to be correct, and we certainly are very unlikely to get the actual order correct. But let's predict the bracket and see, in the end, who I think's winning the major. So for the first game, the number 1 seed that I randomly drew was Cyclops. And the number 2 team that I randomly drew were Wolves. All in all, this was kind of hard to call. This is kind of hard to call for me. The only APAC team versus the only European team that I actually put through, into playoffs, facing off each other once here in the quarterfinals, the very first game. I put Wolves through overall. How do I show this? I'm gonna put a circle. That's too thin. Doodly 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 doo. There we go. I'm putting Wolves up in first, I think. Or above Cyclops, I should say. Whilst I like Cyclops a lot, and while I think Cyclops do beat teams like M&M and potentially Sonics, that's a bit of a hot take, but still potentially Sonics in their group, Wolves were a lot stronger of a team, and I think the fundamentals that Wolves have are going to be able to lock them down these games a little bit more than what we're going to see from other teams in Cyclops' group. Wolves are also like a very experienced team, right? I mean, they've got some of the oldest players in terms of like career length of any team in the entire world, and they're going to be used to Cyclops' shit, right? Black Dragons, even Sonics and M&M to an extent, maybe a little bit less prepared. It's not that they've never seen it. Of course, Sonics definitely have. I think M&M have too. I can't remember if they played Cyclops internationally. But I really believe Wolves will be prepared for that. And I do think they're going to go through. I also feel like I would get totally smoked on Twitter if I shit on Europe that hard that I only sent one team through and I put them out in quarters. Whew. So we're putting Wolves up into the semifinals from this game. We'll go through these a little faster because I've already talked about what I think is strong and weak about each game, or about each team. I don't think Wolves panic. I don't think Wolves panic in this game. I think some teams definitely will panic against Cyclops, but I don't see it for Wolves. I think Wolves are a pretty well put together team, and again, I think Wolves do the fundamentals right. Even if they don't have the same kind of pop off power that even Cyclops necessarily have, Wolves do the fundamentals right, and I think that'll carry them through. I think Bibu comes through. The second game that I generated for the semifinals is one that I'm praying to happen. I'm so hyped for it if it actually goes through. It's TSM, number 1 seed, against SSG. An incredibly hard game to call. An incredibly hard game to call in my eyes. Both of these teams played so well in stage 1 or in stage 3. I keep calling it stage 1. The two most popular teams in North America, I think, are Space Station more popular than Dark Zero? Maybe not. Maybe not the two most popular teams. And either way, two of the most popular teams, two former world champs, going head to head. I guess the current world champs and the former world champs going head to head. In the regular season, TSM won this game, but it was close. It was 7-5 on bank, if my memory is correct. I looked it up this morning. I think it was a 7-5 on bank. I think Gasher really popped off. That was where some of those big echo plays were coming in. Yeah, and that was where we saw a really slow start on attack for Space Station. I don't think the same will happen. I think Space Station Gaming should play this rematch a lot better. I think TSM will play the rematch better as well. Because I think both these teams have such strong support staffs that I expect them both to be better at this major than they were in the regular season. With both teams having a new burst of energy and having two of the best coaches and support staff in the game, I anticipate these two teams are going to come really strong into this major. And I anticipate that both of them are going to look better. So this is really, in my mind, a prediction of how much better have these two teams gotten. And the fact that SSG didn't have to start from scratch with two rookies. They only had to make one roster change. They have brought an experienced player into the major rather than two completely inexperienced players into the major. And the fact that I think I value Lycan and the army of his support staff maybe a little higher than Pojo and his army of support staff, although they're both so good. It's hard as an outsider to know. For those reasons, I'm picking SSG here. Kind of a hot take. Obviously, TSM, numbers-wise, is the favorite team, but I really think Space Station are slept on this major, and I'm excited for them. I think they win this game over TSM. I'm sorry to tell you that, Hale. I'm very sorry to tell you that. Prediction 3 is another incredible banger. People complain about same region matchups, but this, nobody would complain about. And this next game, I think nobody would complain about as well. I have FaZe Clan. Nope, I'm reading that wrong. Okay, okay, we're fine. I have FaZe Clan. I got confused, but I'm still correct. Against Team Liquid. Whew. Probably the two biggest names in Brazil. I'll stand by that. Is Nip a bigger name? I don't know. Two of the biggest names in all of Brazil. FaZe Clan and Liquid. Two ridiculously talented teams. For many of the reasons that I outlined earlier, I'm going to pick FaZe here. Kind of a fast decision. But Liquid, as I said, I just don't think are at that level of winning a major yet. We've seen struggles from Nesk so far. We have seen problems from resets on occasions. Yeah, FaZe smoked him in this game. I don't really care. This game, FaZe were the clear winner in my mind. They lost the game, but they played better. I guess is how I should say this. They played better when you compile the 3 maps overall. And for that reason, I think FaZe Clan go ahead of Liquid. I also have a lot more trust in FaZe late into a major than I do in Liquid. Liquid could win this game, but in my mind, it's a lot more reasonable to pick FaZe, mostly based off history. Yeah, mostly based off history and based off of team coordination. to go in this matchup. If SSG get grouped, I owe you a drink, and if SSG get top 4, you owe me a drink. What team is SSG? Oof. I feel like it's much better odds for you. I don't know if I want that at all. Do top 4, do top 8, bottom 8, and I'm in. I guess they do basically have a free win over Fury. No, okay, we'll do top 4, bottom 8. I'm fine with that. That's actually fair. I think it's still a little bit better for you, but I'll take that bet. Last game is obviously W7M versus Sonics. And this sucks because I would love to see Sonics make a deep run. But unfortunately, they're playing W7M, who I think are doing everything right now. And Sonics are just a team that have... they've got a new player on their roster. They have consistently not done that well at international events, SI aside. And I think the playstyle overall is better from W7M. I think one of Sonics' great strengths is that they have a very talented lineup. Their players are very, very good. Better than I think a lot of other teams in North America. They're not better than W7M. As a whole, they do not have better players than W7M do. And it's a team where I think that's kind of their biggest strength. I don't see them taking out W7M. Which moves us on. Oh, this is gonna be awkward because now they're all covered in green. To the semifinals, where I have Wolves versus Space Station Gaming, and of course FaZe versus W7M. Excuse the bad crop jobs. Well, I don't know why I'm racing this. I'm picking SSG. Picking SSG over Wolves. Wolves are kind of in the same boat as Liquid. I think they're a good team. They've got good fundamentals. They've got good players. Not as good as Liquid, but they've got good players. They just aren't really in... they're not really in the form which wins majors, in my opinion. I didn't think that they had all that going for them even initially throughout the EUL. They played really well, but they didn't really have that wow factor, that immediate kind of we are going to dominate shit factor that I think you need to have at a major. And again, I think SSG are kind of the whole package. I think Yeti's the piece of the puzzle. SSG are a lot more fundamentally established. They've got a ton of that experience. They've still got world championship level players. You think about guys like Hot and Cold. You think about that Yeti played this stage. You think about guys like Faults and Rampy. And I think it clears Wolves pretty simply. I think SSG maybe loses to both of these teams, which kind of spoils my grand finals prediction. Potentially SSG loses to both FaZe and W7M. But I don't think they lose to Wolves. Blackout is celebrating. That's true. Wolves over Mirage and Control, yeah. So basically for who I want, or who I think will win the finals, and also who I think wins the semis, I think it's W7M. This is a really tough semifinals for me to call. FaZe Clan, I think, do so much right, but they stumbled a little too much for my liking in Copa Elite 6. W7M are kind of the opposite, right? Like W7M have looked fundamentally better than FaZe Clan over the last few stages, really. The last year, every time they've gone head-to-head, W7M throughout regular season play have looked better than FaZe. But every time the stakes get high, every time we actually get to the big-ticket games, W7M tended to crumble, and FaZe Clan don't. FaZe Clan win majors. FaZe Clan make it to the grand finals. Yeah, sure, they lost, overtime map 5 against Rogue, but, that's not the same level of crumbling that W7M has had, right? So I think this is a very tough call. I'm going to give W7M the benefit of the doubt that third time is the charm. That they're not going to have the same experience they've had for the last 2 majors, which is coming in really strong, looking like maybe the favorites to win the entire event, and then not having their players there, tilting, going out in groups, whatever, falling to pieces and dropping out of the tournament before expected. I'm going to say W7M make it to the finals. I guess now my pictures are all over the place. And I think they beat SSG. I think W7M become the major champions, which is not a hot take. A lot of people are saying that. But I think really it comes down to the fact that, like, well, do you think the ghosts of W7M's past are going to come back to haunt them? Do you think that the L's that W7M have taken throughout this year, and there have been some fat ones, there have been some fat L's for W7M, do you think those come back to hurt them? Do you think they revisit this team once again? Didn't FaZe beat W7M last major? Yes. Yes, they did. Yeah, it's a good point. It has been a rough couple of majors. Obviously, Charlotte was like really rough. This was the whole couldn't get their players in Charlotte situation. This one, I think the majority of people like predicted W7M to win, and then I don't know. I remember this game just being kind of disappointing. I was on this game, I think. Yeah. I was on this game, so I didn't like have to analyze this game. But I remember watching it just being like, damn, W7M really didn't show up here. So I want to I want to see W7M on top. I want to see them taking that crown. They deserve it. With the year that they've had, W7M deserve a major title, and I think this is where they get it. Have W7M ever played a best of 5? I don't think so. That's also true of like 99% of teams in Siege, though. That's a good point. FaZe have played a lot of best of 5s. FaZe have played maybe more best of 5s than any current existing group of 5 teams or group of 5 players. That's probably correct. It wouldn't shock me if there was some like BR, like Brazilian tournament that had best of 5s. BR6 doesn't finish in a best of 5, does it? Or Copa. Does Copa end in a BO5? No. It used to, though, didn't it? Like last year or something? Hold on. No, maybe I'm crazy. What about 2020? No, okay. Don't listen to me. Yeah, I don't think they've ever... Oh, wait, what's this? What's this? Copa do Brazil? Yes, sir, they've played in the best of 5. Copa do Brazil against Black Dragons. Who was on this team? Panico, GY, KZ, Hertz, and GDN. I mean, it's not entirely a different roster. What's GDN? Yeah. He's inactive. Okay. I was wondering, what's he doing these days? I guess he's still technically rostered. So, 2 out of 5 have. Yeah. But that's my take. What do you think, chat? You think if SG someone would make it to finals, there's no way they lose? They have BO5 experience. Fresh statement makes a lot more sense in that context. That's a good point. I think I think when you get to the intensity of a best of 5, though, being better on a given map just really starts to not matter. I think if it's like if you're in game 5 and it's like 2-2, one team's experience on a map starts to fade at that point, and it's just whatever team can keep the vibes up, can keep the momentum rolling. Miserable. Yeah? I think it's pretty anti-EU biased. I'll say that much. The fact that Rogue didn't make it, for me, made it hard to pick European teams. I also think European teams got fucked in the group stage, just on seeding. I don't know. Eminem, after watching them at every major and every SI that they've gone to, just have never impressed me. Heroic, I almost put top 2, but I think they had way too difficult of a group. BDS, similar. I almost put top 2, but I have so much faith in Space Station and W7M. I mean, literally, if BDS are not against my 2 finalists in their groups, they probably make it out. And Wolves, I did pick to make it out. So I think I'm probably sleeping on Europe. I'm probably hyping up NA more than they deserve. Listen, I think every NA team is absolutely good enough to finish where I think they finish. I think I think SSG is good enough to get to the finals. I think TSM and Sonics are good enough to get to the corners. But inevitably, one of them will choke. 1 or 2 of these NA teams will absolutely fucking bomb out. It's probably going to be like Sonics losing to Black Dragons to get last in Group A or some shit. Something like that is going to happen. But when I look at these teams, you know, and I look at the level of play that I firmly believe they're at, then yeah, I think I'm happy with where I put them. You give me a 3 of 10 just because you think FaZe wins this game and then loses to Space Station? Damn, that's a harsh loss of points. TSM always get grouped at majors? What? TSM have not been to a major in like a year. What are you talking about? Irrelevant. Wasn't the last major that TSM went to the Mexico major? Where they had to play when Gio had COVID? Or is it Murky COVID? I don't remember. I don't know if that counts. And they won invite between that. They've only been to one major and they got grouped. Yeah, okay. Anyways, those are my picks. Yeah, Merc had COVID. Okay. Good times. But those are my picks. And if you think you can do better, chat, join the Big Brain Club Discord server, as Nightbot has so kindly, that was actually amazing timing. That was mid-sentence. Shout out to Nightbot. You can test your skills, unless you're Demino, in which case you're banned, L. To everybody else, jump in the Discord server. Make your picks. It's the prediction competition channel. You go in, you can react to the bot. The winner of that tournament, of course, becomes the prediction champion, taking the crown away from Mr. Stewie. It's a very prestigious title. Only elite players can get it, and somehow Demino weaseled his way in as well one time. So I recommend it. I recommend coming in. If you think my predictions are that bad, let's see. Let's see how many of you guys beat me. We'll find out. We also will be co-streaming. We won't be live tomorrow on this channel, but we will be co-streaming every single game of the major. And if you want, should we leak some guests, chat? I already teased the guests in my Discord, but I am going to leak to you right here. I'm tweeting it tomorrow, but so you got to keep it quiet. But I'm going to leak to you the guests that we're going to have throughout next week. We've got a ton of them. We've got so many guests, and they're going to be rotating in and out on different days for different games to keep things rolling. I have not 100% solidified the schedule because I've messaged 3 Australians trying to get an APAC person on the stream, and not a single one wrote me back. Will not be naming names, but if anybody sees Guz IRL in the next couple of weeks, please elbow him for me. The guest list for the NAL co-streams includes Flynn, Robert Flynn, most homeless caster in all of Rainbow Six Siege, cannot swallow solid food. He'll have incredible insights to help us out. We'll have Challenger League extraordinaire and birthday boy, Lynx, to jump in. If you don't watch Challenger League, or if you don't watch his streams, Lynx is not only a caster, and thus pretty insightful, but also just fucking hilarious, and will be a great time. APAC South Star Onigiri will be joining us for a couple of the days. We will be doing Playday 2, or the second day of groups will be a APAC focused day where we're going to watch primarily the APAC games, because I truly believe I don't have a good understanding or good enough understanding of APAC as a region. So I want to spend a full day digesting APAC, and Onigiri will be there with us, helping to break down a lot of the teams. And he'll return for some future games as well. We will have NAL Memer Extraordinaire and easily the best hair in the entire North American League. I'm talking Kool-Aid. In for a few of the games on multiple different days to help us out with some Tier 1 analysis. We will have, it's only for a brief moment because he's a very busy man, but we will have European, Brazilian, Middle Eastern working man all over the globe. That's right, Twister, on our desk to help us out with some analysis, going into a host of different teams to help us out with that. He has scrims. He's obviously coach for Secret, so he's not going to be able to be there for a full day, but he'll be able to help us out for at least a short time. We will have Rainbow Six's favorite blind bald caster, Ace, joining us. He's doing his own co-stream But we're going to link up for part of day 3 to do a little bit of a co-stream, if you will. Him and myself for a few of the games. Should be doing some NA games, some EU games, get some rivalry going, and it'll be fun. Is that everybody? Oh! And the one, the only, the demon of the unranked stack, Jobro, will be joining us as well for the first game, for the first play day, as well as for some other ones later on down the road. So it should be a lot of fun. It is a stacked, lineup, and I think it'll be good. Why is my eye red? Genuinely because it's super dry in here, in Edmonton. And I don't have very good eye drops. My fellow Saskatchewanite Kool-Aid. Yeah, that's the one. VBM? Wait, VBM? In chat? Madman? VBM, how would you feel about being on the APAC day? I actually desperately needed another person on my APAC day. So here's what I'm thinking. I have like every slot filled for my co-streams except for Playday 2, which is the Tuesday, and I want to watch a lot of the APAC teams, and I have me and Onigiri, but I want to get somebody else. Veeb, if you're down, I'm down. Man, you've got school, I assume, because you're 13. So unfortunately, it's not gonna work. Am I about to end? Yeah, so you're an afterthought. All right, you want to know the truth, VBM? You want to know the truth? You've already came to my mind. You were on my list of people to potentially ask, but I already asked Kool-Aid, and I was like, if I get 2 Parabellum players, that might be too much. But since you're here, I'm willing. I think it'd be dope. I would love to have you on. If you're down, I'm down. Kool-Aid is drunk most of the time. Drunk on his own Kool-Aid. You're 21? I don't believe it at all. Anyways, let me know, VBM. It does involve waking up at 2 a.m. So, well, yeah, never mind. You're in India. What am I saying? No, you have no excuse. Do it or you're a bitch. If I put an SI predictions world champion Demino, absolutely not. Once again, guys, join the Discord if you aren't already in. You can play the prediction competition. It's a lot of fun. Let's take one last look at the current prediction competition rankings. Sonics M&M, most people going for Sonics. I agree. Cyclops versus Black Dragons. A lot of people going for Cyclops. This was, I think, leaning Black Dragons when we first looked at it, right? So maybe the stream has tilted some people's opinions, or maybe it's just a larger sample size evened out. Either way, it's still a close vote. Direwolves phase? I mean, yeah. Glad that there's some Direwolves believers, though. Glad there's a few. Wilson Mirage, I won't actually vote. It doesn't matter. It wouldn't count, but... I believe when I voted, I was the only other person voting Mirage other than... who was it? Somebody. Blaze or somebody. Liquid Sandbox, tough vote for Sandbox. You know, not completely out of the question. Exact same scoreline for Heroic. Seems like the folks are following Demino and picking TSM. BDS Space Station. Too many fresh fans in the chat. Far too many European Siege enjoyers for this Discord. We got to get those numbers up. Please join the Discord and vote for Space Station because this is unacceptable. W7M Fury. 2 people voted Fury because there's automatically 1 vote applied to each. Blaze and Noki on Noki. Shout out to them. Wow, CAG M&M, a 1 vote difference. Probably the closest. I think Cow. Hey, shout out to whoever just jumped on Fury. You're just production bot just calls you other, but we appreciate you. CAG M&M is it's probably the closest game we have here. I think CAG clear, to be honest. I don't know. Every time I like pick M&M to win an international event, they lose. So maybe it's a bad taste in my mouth, but I think CAG take that game. Thonks Black Dragons. Wow, no love for Wolves. Expected though. Most people go in Mirage over Dire Wolves. I'm so excited to see how this one goes. I'm so excited. TSM kind of schooling them. They don't play Liquid day one, so TSM have a bit of an easy first day. They should take both their dubs. Heroic have a pretty tough first day. They will likely lose both their games. Only 3 players, Stray, Last Fire, and 1 other on Heroic. Yeah, it's hard to bet against W7M. That makes sense. And then only 3 players on Fury. And 5 caps. You guys can't fucking see. This whole time, nobody could see? Why didn't anybody say anything? What do I got for Parabellum versus CAG? I think Parabellum would be a great team against CAG. I think they would win so many rounds. Probably not 7, but I think they would win so many rounds. A very impressive number of rounds. You love it here in Sweden. I'm right there with you, Veeb. You and me. We can be in denial together. All right, chat. I think that's going to be it for us. I think we've done what we set out to do. We've predicted the major. Place your bets, honestly. Go gamble real money. Because now you know W7 are winning the major. Space Station getting second. BDS is going out in groups. Go make a lot of money. That's my main takeaway advice to you. I hope you all have a wonderful time. I hope you will be here Monday morning, 1:30 a.m. Mountain. Yes, sir. Where we will be co-streaming the major. Our first set of guests is going to be myself, Lynx, and Jobro, unranked Demon Stack, as it's otherwise called, and Jesse J. Chick. So I hope to see you all there. I hope everyone has a wonderful time. 4 a.m. Central? No. And I hope you guys have a good night. I will see you on Monday. Bye, guys.